things we've watched growing up, Disney Channel, or like even the movies, you just have this narrative in your head. And
Mm.
when I started getting into film, I was always trying to be in it too, or like either find an Asian person the lead, because it's like we don't see this so often. And that was kind of like my little motivation in film school. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
get to direct it, I get to be in it, because it's not something that's like portrayed often, or like
No,
in romance, or
absolutely.
you know what I mean. You have to go to China just to see that kind of stuff, or now
Right.
in Korea they have all kinds of good cinema. But coming up and everything we've seen, we just didn't see people that look like us on the big screen. If it was for the stereotypes. It was to see the nerds, to see the kung fu people, or
Yeah.
just the same type of characters. And they were even mixing races. They'll have like a Japanese guy play a Chinese guy, they'll have a Korean
Mhm.
guy, and it's just like,
It's a mess.
yeah,
It's just a mess. It's a shame.
mixed representation and just
Yeah.
jumbling us all together. Like,
Really, yeah. No, that's very true. That is a huge motivation to keep making movies for me and for Cassie.
That's one reason why I don't act anymore, because being
Yeah.
an actor, like hearing no all the time, because it had nothing to do with my talent, had everything to do with my race.
It's that extra level of like so
Yeah,
often being just flat out denied as soon as they see your headshot because
yeah,
you're Asian. Because
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
It's not sick because you have to be like extraordinary. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for people who are white, like they could be subpar, but they look a certain way and they could get the role.
Yeah, so many actors are white and they are
Mm-hmm.
talented, but there are so many Asian actors
Who
and
are
any
talented and
actor of
who've never
color.
been given opportunity.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
oftentimes more talented. And this is why I hate La La Land. I hate La La Land because it's celebrating white
White.
mediocrity.
Yep. Absolutely. I agree with you on that. Like when it came to like dancing, I understood why I got cut because I can't dance. Like that's a whole different story. But when it
And
came to
that's
like
another stereotype.
exactly, that's another thing. Every time they looked at me, they're like, "Oh, you're Asian. You could dance." Hell no, I'm too lucky. Like wherever I went, they assumed that I was a dancer because I'm a
Yeah.
small Asian man who looks limber. Hmm.
it doesn't help that sometimes you'll fall into a stereotype that is true. When people find out you're a dancer and that you're Filipino, they're like, "Oh, so are you in the job walk?" He's just like, "Well, yes, but not every Filipino dancer is."
How are you at math?
No.
This is a stereotype we are
You see,
about to break. I
stop.
am not good at math. Are you good at math, Justin?
I am. That's
You
what I'm
are?
saying.
Oh my
Here's
god, that's
another
so
time where, like, the stereotype, like, it fits, but it's
cool.
just
Yeah.
like, still, like, okay, you have a point there, but that still doesn't give you permission to just be like, I'm like everybody else. Stereotypes derive from an actual source. There is a
Right.
reason why people may think that, but
Mm-hmm. No, that's very true.
it's the same why maybe certain
Mhm.
men will hit you up and have that kind of opening line. Maybe it's worked in the past, or maybe
Yeah.
their stereotype is, okay, she's an Asian woman that wants to get domesticated. She needs her green card. Like that's like another
Right.
stereotype, or like he's probably like painting the whole scenario in his head. She wants an American hero, and I'm gonna
Dude, that's super
be
true.
her. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no. Right on the nose.
but tell me, how many times growing up watching any of these Disney movies did you see like an Asian Prince Charming? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that alone conditioned girls to believe like that's who the man they're supposed to date. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So
Yeah.
if we're going back to the context of dating, you know what I mean? That
Yeah. Yeah.
stereotype was against me. Like, oh, this guy is an Asian guy. He's probably gonna be smart or whatever. It was very like,
It's a
it was
safe
like,
choice.
yeah, or like when girls are just feeling, I don't know,
They like, oh, this guy will worship me.
like it was that, and it was just I was very busy too with my own personal life. So
Mhm.
when I wasn't like clinging on to them, or like if I didn't have time, they would start being like, yo, why aren't you doing this? You're supposed to be. I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing what? I mean, obviously in a relationship should be equal, but it's not like there wasn't any respect. But I just feel like if it was a different race, there's kind of the mentality of like having a superior and an inferior.
Yeah.
You're like, you're the Asian boy, you just listen to me. Like I call the
Mhm.
shots here. You're not masculine enough to take charge, or you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
you have to live with that just growing up, because you're like, when they
Yeah.
were growing up, they never saw like an Asian strong, figure,
Yeah, totally.
Prince Charming, or just all of these like pistols that everyone else gets to take, and in us it's just like
Mhm.